to you, fellow shut-in. I am Louise Palanker, and this is Quarantainment. I'm coming to you today from inside our home studio. It's currently empty. I picked out a nice hoodie for you today. This one's gray. When I put it on this morning, I found a Kleenex in the sleeve. Bonus. So yeah, the studio has gone unoccupied for the last few months. It's kind of lonely in here. But I'm going to show you around because I decorated this studio in a look I'm calling 90s Scrapbook Explosion. This backdrop was done by my sister Joann. I've got Dionne Warwick. There's me and Mark Davis with Andy and Barney. That happened. I met Sid Caesar, and he wrote Wheezy, Sid Caesar. And the Bee Gees, yeah, got the Bee Gees. And George Michael wrote something, but I think it's faded. Lionel Richie, here he is, he wrote To Louise, something that probably says Lionel Richie. And then here's a lot of my snapshots. In the days before cell phones, before digital anything, you'd get sent a press kit. If you were in radio or if you were in any kind of media, you'd get sent a press kit, and it would have the bio, and it would come in a folder, and then there'd be the headshot. So when we walked in to do an interview, we were armed with the headshot, and if you brought a Sharpie, then it just made everything easier for Lionel. He could just scribble that. Actually, Lionel's got interesting handwriting. And there's me in my page uniform. That was my first job. I got a job as a studio page. And then there's me with Huey Lewis and Rick Dees, my boss. Me with the Moody Blues. There's me with Lionel, so you can see this can lead to this. There's me with a picture of Stevie Wonder that it looks like he took himself, but I don't know what happened there. There's me with Chicago. There's me on the set of Different Strokes or One Day at a Time, something like that. You weren't supposed to have a camera, but I snuck one in. So this was a highlight. I met Julie Andrews. There's me and my friend Diane Warren with our friend Eric Carmen and some people. And there's Steve Martin. Me and Michael Bolton. I'm having a better hair day than Michael Bolton. Phyllis Diller, I met Phyllis Diller. There I am with Gladys Knight. She seems excited. Timothy B. Schmidt and Trish and I. There's Joe Cipriano doing his DJ thing. The Pointer Sisters. I'm a Pointer Sister. This one's a favorite. It's me, Kenny, and Dolly. Right? I'm the island in their stream. There's me and Trish and Gloria Estefan. And there's Rod Stewart and I. He's kind of into me. Hold on, you can't quite see it because Trish's hair is so big. Rod Stewart, into me. Me and Donny Osmond. Me with Barry Manilow. And there's me interviewing Martin Short. And there's me the day I broke up Wham. You're welcome. That's a journey, as Paul Paradiso described it. Dick marks on the wall. There's Al Jarreau, Bon Jovi. Michael Bolton had quite a lot to say to me. He wrote, To Louise, the Cruel One. I don't remember what I did to him. Look at Huey Lewis. What an adorable. This is Bill Murray, and he was in a movie where I think they dropped an elephant out of a plane. I don't remember exactly, but it is Bill Murray. Julio, this is a guy who practically molested me. Truthfully, I didn't mind because he's Spanish. Al Jarreau, and we had a premiere football. And I'm with Elaine Katsoulis and Tony Hudson. This is from my childhood, actually. This is just a picture of the Letterman with all of the little pictures they would send every year if you were a member of the fan club. And I was. Here's Herb Alpert. This is great. It's Kenny Loggins, Gordon Lightfoot. And then there's Joe Cocker, and he's great. This is Roger Daltrey. Here's Paul Simon. There's me and Tony with Robert Palmer. And then there's Billy Crystal. And there I am with Boy George. That's a sentence you thought you'd never hear. This photograph is interesting because it's evidence that everything you see on my walls in this studio was once on my walls in my office at Premiere. Here's Bobby Sherman. My sister Joann was in love with Bobby Sherman, and we used to go see him whenever he came to perform in Buffalo. On one occasion, we went to see him at the WKBW Fun Affair, which took place at our Amherst Recreation Center, which was basically a giant ice rink. They put planking down on the floor. They filled the ice rink with children like us, and on the stage, they put Bobby Sherman. And what ensued was a stampede. And my sister Joann got caught in the undertow. My cousin Lois and I looked at the stage and we saw that children who were fainting were being carried aloft and passed to Bobby, who would restore life with a kiss. My sister Joann witnessed this miracle, feigned unconsciousness, and the next thing Lois and I knew, we looked on the stage and there was Joann with Bobby Sherman. He planted a kiss on her cheek and she sprung back to life with a story to tell. When we were kids, you either saw programming when it appeared on television or you did not see it. It aired once, maybe eventually there would be a rerun, so if your family had somewhere else to be, you simply missed Gentle Ben and that dreamy Dennis Weaver. You didn't see it. And I can still remember the heart-wrenching agony of knowing that you were going to miss an episode of Here Come the Brides. So here's a quarantine blessing for you right now. You now have the time to scour YouTube and look for all of the episodes of all of the TV shows that you missed because your mother decided that you had outgrown your saddle shoes right now. For example, I found all of Here Come the Brides starring that dreamy Bobby Sherman, also Robert Brown and David Soul. You can find that. And while I was looking for Bobby Sherman content on YouTube, I found this extraordinary Bobby Sherman special. It is called Bobby Sherman Special. And please help me. What is he wearing? And why is the set decorated like my sister Joann's bedroom? If you're heading down your Bobby Sherman rabbit hole, you're probably also going to find Shindig. And that song Stephanie from when Bobby was a guest on the Partridge Family. Heaven.
Hello. Hi, Lovey.
It's Joann. Hold on.
Did I do the lighting okay? I worked really hard at it.
Yeah, you did great. I'm going to turn on the other camera. You look beautiful in front of that cupboard.
I'm wearing makeup.
You're wearing makeup and you're doing the Claire McCaskill and you're pulling it off. So what are your memories of finally meeting Bobby Sherman in person?
Oh, well, I had met him when I pretended to faint at the Fun Affair. I was being pushed into a pole in the front row, and I noticed that if you fainted, Officer Rich would come to all of our assemblies and teach us how to be safe. Yeah, I mean, he might have been my first crush. So I'm like, all right, Officer Rich is dragging fainting girls onto the stage to get revived by Bobby. I want in. So he pulled me out. And do you remember this at all? Or
Lois and I were very well aware that you were on the stage with Bobby Sherman.
Okay, so that was, I mean, I know we didn't have a conversation because he was in the middle of a song, but he did kiss me and revive me. But I think I was sort of shocked at how affected I was that many years later in his presence. It's amazing what a teen idol crush can do to you. It's so,
Well, I think what happens is that those are things that are kind of like hardwired into us, the things that we love as children. And what makes the internet so interesting is you can Google these things and find them and revisit that feeling, and that feeling of joy and giddiness and elation over something that you've become passionate about, and you've identified your whole sense of self around, this is the person I like and he represents everything that's good in the world. That stays with you. And it informs men you choose or women you choose, and the music you like, and jodhpurs.
Bell bottoms and platform shoes.
I don't know if I'm saying it correctly. Is it jodhpurs?
But it doesn't matter because I know exactly what you mean.
Anyway, he had pants tucked into his boots. I don't know what to call it. All right. So what have you been watching? What have you been doing? How are you quarantining yourself?
Well, I have been doing a lot of Netflix because it's good to just escape. Cousin Paul recommended Broadchurch, and that was great. Like, I think in 3 days I watched all 3 seasons, and I think I told you it's in England, and there's bluffs, and it's just gorgeous. People are being murdered, but it's beautiful where they die.
Aside from that, it's a great neighborhood.
And the woman who's the lead detective is now famous. Is it Olivia Colman, who she's now Queen Elizabeth on The Crown, and she won the Oscar for that movie that you asked Ron in the middle of it, when is this going to be over?
Oh, I hated that movie.
Yeah, I know.
What was the name of that movie?
I know, I think it's one word. Well, I feel like the name had like almost like a joyous sound, like festivities or like
okay, I got it. The movie was The Favorite.
There you go.
Please make this movie stop. Does anyone know The Projectionist? All right, what else? I think you brought some show and tell.
Yeah, so from the show and tell department, Louise, this one came up unexpectedly. I'm going to throw it in there and surprise you. If you want to be entertained and clean at the same time,
These are goals.
I ordered these a couple years ago. They're mopping slippers. Okay, so the bottom is mops and the top is this. So there's, first of all, they're super comfortable. This is actually the perfect time to have mopping slippers because it works your inner thigh, your outer thigh. It would work it more if I did it more than once every 2 years, but I did get them on Amazon. You know, you could go out, you do circles. So my other obsession, I was thinking like, what would be a good thing to give people during the pandemic? I was searching metal wallets on Amazon, and am I yelling? You know, something that when you came back from the stores, you could just wipe down and it would be super easy, because with the leather one, there's so many things to go into. So it just opens with a clip. Pardon? Oh yeah, that's
one that you gave me. And
other one, upside down. I have a tray ready, Wheezy.
Open it, and I have a pencil. So it will hold a tiny pencil.
Oh, I just thought of something else. You could keep clean Kleenex tissues in there. But these are some of the adorable designs. They're happy.
Yeah.
They just make me happy. And so there were a couple of days where I literally spent an awful lot of time just looking for cute things that people might enjoy. Okay. There's just a zillion crafts people on Etsy. You can get making masks. You can get everything from, let me put it here so you can see, this is the basic black, which Catherine highly recommended, and you can get 4 of them. I'll get you the link for $23, which really is the best price that you can get for these kinds. Plus side, super easy to put on. But the nose wire is when you can mold it around your nose. This is just for people, and that is good. However, these are more expensive. I don't remember how much it was. They're really cute, has the nose wire, super comfortable. The downside is you can't put it on as quickly. Good ventilation. Same type as the other one, but it has the rubber bands. Louise, is this like more info than you wanted for your show?
For sure.
I ordered a jump rope, but this had 2 stages to it. I thought, what can I do to get cardio where I'm not hurting my knees as much, and because I really do miss going to the gym and all those things. So the first jump rope that I ordered, because it was getting so many great reviews, was this plastic thing. And I couldn't even get it over my head because it just didn't have enough momentum. Like everything else, masks and jump ropes, there's different. So then I dug a little further and I found this gem. So it's got that wood, like wood handles, and the rope, it's leather. You know, it's like real materials and metal. It took me about 3 weeks to get brave enough to find a spot where I'd be seen in public. And I went to the school up the street, and I went in a parking lot. So if any of you are having, you know, some of those same issues, because I didn't know if I was going to fall flat on my face, or, you know, I just didn't know. I was kind of scared, but it did come back. I was exhausted very easily, but if you remember from school how good this felt, this is the one, and Wheezy can do it. Just, oh, I just love it. But in these times, like, these are the little things that you need to sort of just save your mood,
Right.
Anyways, but then of course I couldn't walk for like a week afterwards.
Well,
sure. But it's okay. I'm gonna work back.
It lifts your soul.
So for the creative people, I also
have a closing number.
Yeah, my closing number is, and again, this is Joann style. This is my favorite book that I have never used. I love this book. I ordered it 3 years ago. Anybody can do this. And they have 2 other versions of this. I think maybe one is writing related, 365 days of blank. And there's 2 other versions I got on Amazon. But what I love about it, even though I haven't used it yet, because part of me doesn't want to ruin it, which is my own weird thing. So every day, well, they tell you what you need, like magic markers or watercolors, like nothing too complicated, something that people might already have in the house. Color the fruit in the bowl, but try not to use the correct colors. Challenge your mind. I just love the philosophy behind it. It's like getting you to just come out of your comfort zone is what it really is. So every single page, and again, this is a gift that I've almost sent to so many people.
These things that are soothing and that are spirit lifting and that are creative and that make you feel
fun.
Fun. Like at the end of the day, when you put your head on the pillow, you want to say like, oh, I colored something and I jumped some rope. I think I'm 6. Joann and I, we're in our own little documentary club. And so if we see one that we know the other one will like or love, we definitely say, this is mandatory. And so let's talk about a couple of them. You go first. You were going to talk about Galapagos.
Oh, yeah. Like one that I stumbled upon a couple years ago is called the Galapagos Affair. And I just couldn't believe nobody knew this story. That's all I can say. I'm not really going to say anything else. And then I sent it to Louise because I told you to watch it because I needed validation. I needed, like, if Louise validates it, then I'm okay. Although, wow, is that entertaining.
They leave a society that's very structured and very judgmental, and they're going to go live like angel fairy wild children on the Galapagos, and then shitstorm. So
yeah, it's if you want to feel good about yourself, watch this.
And then the one that I wanted to talk to you about was, I think, one I recommended for you, and it's called Dad's in Heaven with Nixon. And it's by Tom Murray, and he made a documentary about his family, which includes his brother, Chris Murray, who
I could cry just thinking about it. Yeah.
We're in love with. They're kind of a fancy family, and they grew up maybe in the 60s or 70s, and they went to the Hamptons, and once again, everything was, kind of picture perfect, and they have one child who doesn't fit into that mold of these perfect Christmas card children that you present to the world. He's got his own unique challenges and gifts. So it's kind of from the perspective of Tom, who's an adult enough to look back on his father and to wonder, whatever was going on in his father's head concerning these children and this family. And it sort of just explores family dynamics. And if you're interested and intrigued by that, as I am, it's pretty much the best. We just fell in love with this documentary.
Well, I think part of it that was so moving, yeah, I mean, I think he's autistic, and I know autism, everybody, there's a million different ways you can be autistic, but this man, you just can't not fall in love with him. I mean, he is as dear as they come, and I don't know, it just moved my ass off.
We love Chris Murray so much that you actually, because you are the perfect gift giver, in my opinion, and I think you and Catherine can tie for that title.
Well, I learned from the best. You
got me a Chris Murray original that hangs in my home.
Yeah.
I'm going to thank you so much for being with us. I am Louise Palanker.
Inviting me.
This is Quarantainment. Be safe, be well, and be kind. And thank you to my darling sister, Joann Palanker. Bye.
Love you.
I love you.
Eyes that I look for.